Good evening, America. Ahead today on the 5-Minute News Hour, blind Chinese, exit strategies, Rocky himself, and something else. All ahead in the next 5 to 7 minutes. Good evening, America, and welcome to the 5-Minute News Hour. I'm Brian Gartland. Tonight's top story. Big trouble in regular-sized China? Blind Chinese activist Chen Guangcheng escaped from his home surrounded by armed guards and was rushed to the U.S. Embassy by supporters last week, and was given asylum by the United States. Guangcheng was imprisoned and separated from his family after exposing Chinese forced abortions and sterilization. The Chinese state is now demanding an apology from the United States, who accepted Chen under humanitarian grounds. Complicating matters are rumors that the Chinese officials have threatened Chen and his family, who left U.S. protection today to see his family and to be treated at a Beijing hospital. Further complicating matters are the fuck tons of money the United States owes China. Said a top U.S. foreign advisor, "This is hard." Ugh. Was this what it was like to try and deal with us for the last 60 years? This shit sucks. Although promises were made that the activist and his family would be able to remain safely in China, as per his wishes, reports from inside the hospital reveal no U.S. presence around Chen, and the promises made by the Chinese government are starting to look more and more like every other promise made by the Chinese government in terms of human rights violations. More on this story as it becomes less terrifying and more funny. I am, after all, just a jackass sitting alone in his room, speaking into his phone. But I'm doing it in America, where the government is probably listening, but is too broke to really do anything about it. USA! 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 President Obama, in a surprise trip to Afghanistan, signed the Strategic Partnership Agreement with Afghan President Hamid Karzai, which pledges support after the 2014 removal date of all U.S. combat troops. Said Obama, "This time of war began in Afghanistan, and this is where it will end." Probably. The agreement says in part that the U.S. will provide monetary aid after the 2014 withdrawal date, and the few special forces and training troops will stay in Afghan camps rather than the U.S. leaving any permanent bases in the country. The Afghan people are excited to have the over 30,000 U.S. troops leave their home country and can't wait to find out who's going to unsuccessfully invade them next. The news is especially comforting and exciting to Melissa of Melissa's Quilt Comforter and Freedom Blanket Superstore, who has been waiting over a decade to change the name of her store back to Afghans, Afghans, Afghans. Richard Grenell, Mitt Romney's national security spokesman, stepped down today because Republicans didn't believe he actually existed. Grenell, who is openly gay, was under constant fire about his conservatism due to his open homosexuality. Said Republicans, it wasn't fair. He loved men and conservative values, but didn't have boobies. We told him he could regain his post just as soon as an African-American conservative led in the polls to be President of the United States. When informed that Herman Cain did in fact do that earlier this year, everyone had a good laugh and then wept and wept and wept. Matt Rhodes, Romney's campaign manager, said he was disappointed in the decision, but reiterated that at no point will his candidate's personal opinions or beliefs on things affect his presidential campaign. If this New York Mets Baseball Academy participation trophy tells you anything, it tells you that I'm qualified to report on sport. 4 former New Orleans Saints have received suspensions ranging from 3 games to an entire season after their role in Bountygate, where players were paid and distributed bonuses for attempting to injure opponents. "Pussies," said Boba Fett. "My ass is still being digested in the Sarlacc pit." Federal prosecutors were caught looking today as Andy Pettitte, former Astros and New York Yankees teammate of Roger Clemens, who faces perjury charges, said that there was a 50-50 chance he misheard Clemens when he admitted to taking performance-enhancing drugs. Adding, I'm just fucking with you. Look at the guy. He got better in his mid-30s. This isn't stand-up comedy. He threw a frickin' bat at a player in the World Series. God, the guy's on more juice than Orenthal J. Simpson in an orange grove. He's more performance-enhanced than Ashley Simpson during her SNL performance. He's had more needles in his ass than a skinny dipper at a medical waste dump. but there's an even chance that I totally misspoke just now. Our final story this evening. In a recent interview with Music Television, that's MTV, Sylvester Stallone hinted that there may be a 5th Rambo movie coming. We think. It went kind of like this. I gotta make new movie out of Rambo #5. Look how strong I am. Where's Roger Clemens with my treatment of steroids? Adrian. For all of me here at the 5-Minute News Hour, I would like to thank you for tuning in. Honestly and sincerely. Thank you. Have a good night and a great night.